of 450 RPM. This is by 5 consortium members of TMMA, Textile Machineries, and this is now underway. The second, as I mentioned earlier, was the proposal from TAGMA and ILFS for a common engineering facility. The proposal of PSG is under examination. We've asked them to redo the proposal somewhat. FICCI has been very actively associated with this proposal, but we do plan to push it through in the next month and a half. We have a proposal for Center of Excellence for Fabrication Projects. This is from IIT Delhi. We have proposals from IIT Bombay and so on. I mentioned about the proposal from Surat. So this is, of course, a current list of proposals, but we are looking for newer ones. We require experts. This is the one I just mentioned about. This is a proposal for empanelment of senior industry experts. We are looking for experts, well, not only in industry, but also in project appraisal, management, finance, etc. We look at professionals. We will empanel them, keep them on our panels and use them. We hope to remunerate them suitably and retain their support for the scheme. This is again available on the DHI website, and I would request you to access it once in a while and have a look at it, please. Thank you. This is all what I had to say, because I would really like to hear from the industry experts on what else we can do to refine this scheme, make it more user-friendly, and take it forward and have your wholehearted participation in the scheme. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sahai. We'll have question answers on the scheme after the 3 other technical presentations. I'll request Mr. M.S. Unikrishnan, Co-Chair FICCI Capital Goods Committee, to give his presentation, overall perspective on the technology requirements of capital goods sector.
It's already there. This one, will it more just okay. That's okay. Otherwise we'll operate. It can be operated. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, that's better, because otherwise, as such, I'm short. Our Joint Secretary, Mr. Vishwajit Sahai, हमारी इंडस्ट्री के दोस्त महेंद्र पटेल साहब, प्रकाश पहुदी जी, मिनिस्ट्री की लारका जी, and FICCI office bearers, my dear friends in the industry. I try to give an overview about our industry to start with, so that it would have a background for the people from the academia who may not be fully aware of the numbers. So there will be 2 parts to what I'm going to be presenting. The first part is about our industry in totality, and then thereafterwards get into some of the sectors where the technology needs are identified by us. Not fully inclusive, it is only selective at this point of time. Starting on with that, the size of the capital goods industry is approximately 12% of the total manufacturing sector of the country. Now, if you look at the GDP of our country, approximately 13 to 14% comes from agriculture. Around 17 to 20% do come from, varying from the manufacturing sector, and 64-65% is from the service sector. So 12% of that manufacturing sector is a 1.8 to 2% of the Indian GDP, which is approximately $2 trillion. $2 trillion, 1.8 to 2% of that is what all of us do represent over here. And in this one, thankfully we had a growth in the last year. Now the numbers indicate that when I talk to people in the industry, people say that, look, there had not been a growth, but overall numbers indicate that there was a growth for our industry in the last year. in comparison to a negative growth in the year prior to that. But that's what the numbers which are indicating. Maybe selective industries would have grown in that. As of now, our size of the industry is approximately 200,000. That is around 2 lakh crores of rupees is what we produce as the main industry and the supporting industry put together. And we need to be growing to a 5.1 lakh, which is equivalent to an $85 billion in size by 2020 if the plans of the government of India were to be fructifying to double our economy by that time. And also to have the national manufacturing plan, which is also, some of us are part of that in developing a CG committee, we should create 100 million jobs. So we'll have to grow to that particular level. So that's a target in front of us. We are a net importer of capital goods, which I would show it to you. Our imports in the last year was approximately, I think, $35.6 billion. This is 1,30,000 crores rupees is what we imported. It's more of imports and if you look at the core areas. Now let's look at the numbers very clearly, specifically to talk about. Yeah. You will see the number on the top of the machinery as 24,650. That's 25 billion, this is millions of dollars. $25 billion in 2010, climbing all the way to $38 billion, now coming down to around 32 billion in the last year. Is one item as machinery. In this machine tools is a 1.7 billion, went all the way up to almost 3.1, it's coming down to 2.16. Electrical machinery is 4.4, went all the way to 6.3, but 7.2, remaining at 6 even today. Textile machinery, 1.29 billion, and it is even 1.7 billion at this point of time. Machineries which are not electrical in nature, which is fundamentally the power equipment, the boiler, the turbines, the electrical BOPs, which are imported from outside the country, predominant part of that, pumps, motors, equivalent. It is 17.2. It has gone all the way to 26 billion and is coming down. And the project goods, which means the cement plants that India imports, the steel plants that we import, as plants, as projects that we import from outside the country, it is 4.7 billion. Went to 6.5, it has come down to 3.62. Now you may find a story in this 29 billion going all the way to 47 billion in 2 years period and come down to 35 in the last year. My assessment is the depreciation of Indian rupee, which makes it very difficult for Indians to be importing, and also the stubbornness of Chinese currency, making that almost 23-24% non-competitive. So the surge of import which happened in 2010, 11 and 12 has started coming down. And of course our economy is also not in the best of the shape. One of the reasons is that. And since I belong to another industry, which is, I'm talking about the capital goods industry of the boiler and the power equipments. In 2010, we did not have supercritical capacity in the country. Whereas as of today, BHEL has got almost 15,000 megawatt capacity. Larsen Tubro MHI has got a capacity of 5,000 megawatt. B&W with our partnership has got a capacity of, Babcock & Wilcox has got a capacity of 4,000 megawatt. JSW with Toshiba has got a capacity of 5,000 megawatt. You got also Bharat Forge with Alstom having a capacity created in your own state with the age of around 4,000. So all of them put together, capacity came into being in the past maybe 3-year period. And Indians have also commissioned supercritical equipments in the country. So with that, see that's why the importance of this is, if we invest in technology, either as investment in technology, many a times we believe that we buy technology, and many a times development through IITs or equivalent. That's also one way of doing it. Bringing technology to the country also can mean a joint venture with somebody, where India has got a control. And somebody asked that question also, why should we allow others to come to India? Others won't come with it, without technology sometimes, unless they are being given a shareholding. Technology procurement and attraction of people from outside the country with the cutting edge of technology, they may have to be participating in that. That is done in the power equipment industry in the past maybe 7 or 8 years, which has brought down the imports. Similarly, it's an invitation for the entire capital goods industry that if you do not have an ability to be growing your own on your own, it is better to be inviting others to come to your country and you become a partner for it and be a controlling partner in that one. So they'll keep giving you technology. That's an indicator from this. That's all what I wanted to derive from this. Now looking at the item-wise, where are we? Our total import being last year, say 35 billion. The number one item is machinery. In the machinery, it is a non-electrical items import is the highest, which means the items which are needed for making high pressure vessels, heat exchangers, boilers, turbines, and such associated items, high tension, maybe 760 kV electrical components outside the electrical item. These are the items which are coming in on that. And these numbers are the CAGR, that is compounded annual growth rate in imports into the country. So machinery is growing at the rate of 5.4%. And electrical machinery and equipment is 6.6%. So average 5 to 6% is the growth of import into the country if you look at the past maybe so many years. Now these numbers may sound to be very small, but please remember, it's a dollar value. For the last 2010 to say 2015, 5 years, our currency has depreciated by almost maybe a 38-40%. If I were to compound that also along with this dollar rate, you're talking about an industrial growth of import in rupee terms of approximately 13.5%. Which Indian company has grown consistently for 5 years at 13.5%? Nothing. At least I can't think of it. Maybe IT may be growing, or some other industry may be growing, or maybe alcohol may be growing, but not engineering industry. Nowhere in the world you can find a 13.5%. So India has given an opportunity for the international companies to grow at the rate of 13.5% at the cost of Indian companies. Why? Because technology is not available. I don't blame our purchasers. Why did they buy from outside India? Because we were incapable at this juncture, whatever is the reason for it. So there is something which we need to be taking the blame for, and we need to find a solution instead of worrying about what happened in the past. How do we go forward and make it happen is the thinking that we should be having in our mind. Yeah. These numbers are very important, how others view India. This is at World Economic Forum, or the 144 countries registered over there. How do they perceive India in terms of technology and capital goods related items? The numbers are, we are rated 121st in technological readiness. I don't know which company, some sub-Saharan companies, if their rating, please. I mean, it may not be the actual number, but this is the way you're rated over there, that in technological readiness, to be going ahead in the area that we belong to in capital goods, we are rated 121. We are 110th with respect to availability of latest technology domestically. So that is our next rating. 102 in firm level, that is company level technology, and 95 when it comes to foreign direct investment and technology transfer. This is a rating that we have at this point of time. Now, we need to be accepting the fact,